Good morning, Roll Gang, and welcome on inside to another episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. I am back at Spoon Studio with the Rolling Spoon beanies and the Rolling Spoon, the high bud tender spoons. Oh, it is so great to be back in this chair at 8:02 a.m. Pacific time, 8:03. I appreciate you guys tapping in this morning for a Canna News Thursday episode of the show, and I am so excited to break down the past week's drama in the cannabis industry around the country while I burn some herb, as I do every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time with the Roll Gang, my favorite people in the world. So it is absolutely great to sesh with you guys, coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders, going to training camp. It is training camp season out here, and it is hot, Roll Gang. So, super excited to get on into some cannabis news with you guys. But first, major shout out to everybody tapping in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I love every single one of you guys. And I love session with y'all every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And a major shout out to the sponsors of the show, because they make shit happen for me and the Roll Gang and the show. And I mean, they just make everything possible for us. So, huge shout out to Oaksterdam University, the premier cannabis college. Get your cannabis education the right way from the professionals in cannabis education. The first ever cannabis college in the country, Oaksterdam University. Use promo code Rolling Spoon to get 10% off your tuition for your cannabis industry class. You can go learn how to home grow. You can learn how to start a cannabis business. Whatever you guys want. Check it out. Online classes. Promo code Rolling Spoon. Because this episode is also brought to you by the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool, helping me roll a dime every time. And also, Quality Vegas Bud Joe. I have some plants here. He took great care of my plants and even left some herb for me in my grinder, and just a great guy. I appreciate you babysitting the studio, Joe. So let's spark this baby and get on into this Cannabis News Thursday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. It is time to break down this week's latest and greatest in cannabis news. So the first piece of cannabis news comes from the federal level, Roll Gang. It's about the descheduling process of cannabis. And this is of uber importance. I'm sure most people know, but cannabis right now is a Schedule 1 controlled substance. And they still claim there is no medicinal value to this plant. Well, this tastes good, Joe. Well, bull fucking shit, no medicinal value. This is the medicine that we need to attack the world, Roll Gang. Like, I don't know. At some point, even if you are an adult use consumer, you have to recognize the aid that it brings to your mental welfare and your clearness of mind. It just really is a boost, not an anchor. So Senator the Senate's majority leader, Chuck Schumer, is one of the men who wrote the bill to officially deschedule cannabis in the country, which will be a huge move nationwide. He defended his bill and said that descheduling cannabis, it has overwhelming evidence that legislation doesn't increase crime. So, quotes, unquotes. Overwhelming evidence that legislation doesn't increase crime. And this is just the facts, Roll Gang. Pot does not make you want to commit crime. It makes you want to show love. Like, everybody, we need more pot, not less of it. And, I mean, huge shout out, old timer Chuck Schumer. Honestly, you don't see many people of his demographic supporting this amazing plant. But he really defended his bill to deschedule cannabis, and we can all be so appreciative for that because we really need it to not be a Schedule I substance federally anymore. Ooh. This joint is fucking awesome. Roll Gang. This is the Chuck Schumer joint. Shout out Chuck Schumer. Legalize it, baby. Legalize it. But anyways, so once the cannabis bill passes and cannabis is federally legalized, you can assume that it will be a lot easier to acquire a cannabis advertising agreement. And there was a bill filed at the federal level that will allow states that have legalized cannabis already to produce ads for radio and television. So I know here in Vegas I've heard radio ads for dispensaries. But I don't think they go into too much detail onto the product. I think there's pretty strict regulations for it. But it would be awesome to see some ads. Like a cannabis Super Bowl ad, I don't know. As long as, like, if they have beer ads, I think they should be able to have pot ads too. And it'd be really, really funny to see some sesh scene on a Super Bowl ad, some classic funny sesh scene. Yeah, get your rolling spoon. I'm going to get a rolling spoon ad on the Super Bowl. Shout out. I don't know. That would, I'm going to try to talk that into action. I love that though. I love the idea of TV ads for cannabis. I think they'll be super entertaining. It'll be a whole new one. So they don't have to be about like Goozle Kumab or any of these bullshit drugs or all the, like, it's literally cars, drugs, and like, I think that's it, like, for ads, basically. But so the next piece of cannabis news comes from the National Institute for Drug Abuse, NIDA, giving a little bit of credit to the cannabis industry. But before we get on into that story, huge shout out Oaksterdam University, sponsor of the show. Use promo code ROLLINGSPOON, one word, to get 10% off your premier cannabis education. First ever cannabis college. It's the place to learn about the industry. And the Rolling Spoon, cannabis multi-tool, helping you to roll a dime every single time. I have trouble keeping it lit because, I mean, I talk too much to rip it. But I'm going to take a quick rip before I get on into this pretty interesting cannabis news from NIDA. So NIDA is the National Institute for Drug Abuse. And so they're finally set to hire a new contract for another cannabis cultivation after 50 years of research only on a hemp farm, an outdoor hemp farm. And imagine that. They're probably using the same genetics. Like, all this herb is probably the same. So NIDA is going to be contracting this new cultivation for research purposes. And the hemp that they've been researching does not contain THC. And I'm sure since it's outdoor, it's pretty uncontrolled. You can make some really great outdoor, but the results have got to be pretty interesting. You know, they're pretty much the same. They studied one hemp farm for 50 plus years, and the rituals of that farm and the genetics, so much goes into, so many factors go into producing cannabis. And for NIDA to only have been researching one facility for 50 years, I mean, that's a very small sample size. So it's really good news that a federal institution such as NIDA is going to contract another cultivator for research purposes so that they can get some diversity and some THC, some stuff with some actual full spectrum medicine in it, you know? Super excited for NIDA to get a hold of their new facility. And the last great piece of cannabis news here on this Canna News Thursday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake comes from the great state of Mississippi. Mississippi, and they are trying to get legalized. I don't know. I don't know if that rhymes or not. That was off the cuff, but anyway, Mississippi on July 1st started receiving applications for the first dispensaries in Mississippi. So the crazy shit about this is they received 111 applications. Now that doesn't maybe seem like much. Like, everybody would be interested in opening a dispensary, but 111 applications at $40,000 per application fee with no guarantees. Roll gang, let's do some math. That's $4.4 million that the Mississippi government received from application fees alone, and none of these applicants are guaranteed a permit. You do not get your application fee refunded. They tried to make it so that people really had to be fully committed in order to get an application fee. 111 commitments in less than a month, writing $40,000 checks for an application to have a dispensary in Mississippi. But some great cannabis news all across the board. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer defending his bill that would deschedule cannabis. It's just overwhelming evidence that legalization doesn't increase crime, quote unquote. And then legalizing TV ads. NIDA set to hire a new facility in Mississippi with their $4.4 million in applications. But roll gang, it has been awesome sharing some cannabis news with you guys and smoking some herb. It's basically law to wake and bake at this point. I absolutely cherish wake and baking with you guys. It is so much fun coming on here, talking about cannabis news every Thursday. Tomorrow is Fuck Yeah Friday, and I'm kind of I just got back at midnight last night from Pennsylvania. It's really great to be back, but I'm just ecstatic to be here in Spoon Studio making some wake and bakes with you guys, and you know where to find me tomorrow morning. Fuck Yeah Friday. Tune in. Live, 8 a.m. Pacific time, roll gang. Processor Sky, Anchorman this morning. Much love to you. Have a great